Welcome back to the Pursuit of Property podcast. Today we've got on investor, realtor, mentor, Bennie Clay. Bennie, how are you, man?
I'm doing good, guys. How are you?
Doing great. I mean, we've had this podcast going for a little bit, and ever since the very first episode that we just threw on Facebook Live, we knew we wanted to have you on. So I'm super pumped that we got you on today to talk about networking and a little bit of that stuff related to out-of-state investing. So thanks for being on here today, man.
Yeah, I'm excited, man. I miss you guys. This is going to be fun.
You miss us. We're right across the hall.
Yeah, I feel like I don't see you guys anymore, man. But it's good to get in here with you guys and see your new office, see you guys thriving, man. This is fun. This is cool.
Cool, man. So one of the topics that we had, so you could talk about a lot of the different things we talk about on this. You do out-of-state investing. You do local investing. You're a local realtor. You're like us on steroids to a sense. So we wanted to have you come in on the thing that we felt you are head over heels better than us and the majority of the people we know at. And we concluded that would be networking. Yeah. So, you come off, I think my dad put it the best. You're the cool kid who is always nice to everybody.
That's exactly right, man. That's exactly how I would describe it.
You've got the suave, you fit in with like every group, man, I swear. But you've done a good job of introducing yourself and being like out there and talking to people. So we kind of want to talk with you about that today.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's dive into it, man.
Well, perfect. So let's talk a little bit first off. You got into the business only a few years ago, and you only really started getting into out-of-state investing and investing about 2-3 years ago?
No, I would say out-of-state investing is actually brand new to me. I started in September when I flew out with you guys to see your guys' package that you bought because I was always interested in doing that. Kind of what got me in out-of-state investing and thinking about it more heavily was when COVID hit, all these laws in California kind of were on pause, and I was going through some of that. I had just bought 2 rentals here in Fresno, and I never had any issues, but I was seeing other people have issues, and I was buying houses with landlords, tired landlords that were having issues through COVID and not getting their tenants out and having problems with all that stuff. So looking at it and studying it and really thinking about California as an investment opportunity for me as far as rentals go, I was thinking to myself, it's a pro-tenant state. It's one of the worst pro-tenant states in the United States. Here in New York are the one and two. And it's going to get worse. It's not going to get better. And I think COVID sped that up even more.
Yeah.
And so I started getting nervous about if I'm going to spend all my time and energy in investing and accumulating rentals to get more passive income coming in, because that's my goal, that I really need to think about this. And I saw you guys do some stuff in Indiana. Jason, has done some out-of-state stuff and had some success. And so I started doing some research, and I thought to myself, I'm going to go check out Indiana because Indiana was the #1 landlord-friendly state after I was doing my research. And I was like, wow. I was like, I already got people I know that's investing, so why don't I go take a look at it and see what's going on? So that's kind of how my thought process was on starting that out-of-state investing, and that was just in September. So I've only been doing it for about 9 months now.
Okay. And at this point, how many units do you own out there, and how many projects have you done?
So I own 6 rentals. I'm closing on an Airbnb actually next week. My first Airbnb. It's less than 2 miles away from Notre Dame. Really excited about that. Never done an Airbnb before, so I'm kind of stepping out of my comfort. Sweet. Yeah, so I'm going to try the short-term rental thing, see how that goes. And I currently have 3 flips going out there right now.
Okay. So you're at 10 projects pretty much.
10 projects, yeah.
Good for you, man.
Yeah. So things are going really well, man.
And let's talk about, we wanted to focus a little bit on networking, and I want you to talk to us a little bit about how you found that first deal out in Indiana and how all of that kind of came together, because I think it's a pretty cool story. It wasn't off Zillow like ours was, and it was, I want you to tell us a little bit about it.
Sure. So when you guys said you were going to go out there and visit, and I had been doing some research, I'm like, I'm going to go out there with you guys. So I got on the South Bend, Mishawaka investment Facebook group and started asking a bunch of questions. Say, hey, I'm flying out September. I want to meet a bunch of people. I'm an investor. I want to start buying rentals out here. Please reach out to me. I'm looking for contractors, wholesalers, any other investors to meet with, just to start meeting people. And it's funny, this older lady reached out to me and said, hey, me and my husband are getting older. We have a house in Florida. We travel there during the winter time and kind of getting tired. We have these 3 duplexes. Do you want to come take a look at them? I'm like, absolutely. I was like, wow, this is crazy. I haven't even flown out there yet. Never seen South Bend before, and these people reached out to me through Facebook. And so when we got out there, you guys saw the
We went with
duplexes.
you, yeah.
went with me. I brought you guys and our contractor Deb. You guys had already been talking to, and Jason's already used before. And so I could run comps and make sure I was knowing what I was getting into. And 30 days we went and saw the properties. We went and walked them, took pictures. I got bids from the contractor Deb, and then took Jen out there, who is my real estate agent out there, my broker, and ran comps to make sure I was making a good decision here. Ended up working a deal out and bought those 3 duplexes for $145,000 total for all 3. So 6 units for $145,000.
Yeah.
And each unit rents for $800.
Jeez.
So I got a pretty good deal on that.
So backtracking, before we even got out there, because I didn't actually know how you found these. Cade was saying like, oh, Bennie got his deals from like online, like on Facebook or something. He was like, they like met on Facebook or something like that. And I was like, oh, crazy. So you got onto the Mishawaka South Bend real estate investor meetup group.
Yep.
Facebook page. Did you just post, or were you DMing people? How did
I was posting, and then this lady DM'd me.
She DM'd you.
She DM'd me.
Oh man.
And I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. And then so I got on the phone with her husband, started having some conversations, and they were telling me what they were wanting to do. And I said, man, well, it sounds like a really good opportunity. I'd love to, make an offer on these, but I'm flying out there. I'd like to see them first and meet you out there and meet you in person. And I only like doing deals with people I like. So you seem like a nice guy, and let's see if we can make something work.
Yeah.
Met out there, and then took me about 2 or 3 weeks after that for the negotiations to get the price that we both could agree upon and get the right deal, but ended up working out. It's a pretty cool story.
Yeah.
And I know we've heard a lot of people say every single meetup we've gone to is the phrase your network is your net worth, or kind of flipped, your net worth is your network, however you want to say it.
Yes.
And I know Scott and I, both our stories of getting started in real estate can be attributed to networking. What do you think is the most important aspect or most important thing about networking in this business?
I think treating people the way that you'd want to be treated, so that you'll get the best response that way, and being intentional when you're networking with people. If you come across as, let's rewind a little bit. So going back to high school, I was always the guy, like you guys said in the beginning, that was friends with everybody. I had friends at every single school, was always nice to everybody. It's just my personality, number one. And I kind of just intensified that, multiplied that, and used that now in business. So because of all those relationships, people trust me, like me, and people want to do business with people they trust and they like. So if you come across very genuine, be yourself, and treat people like you want to be treated, you'd be surprised at how far that could go.
Yeah.
And so I've always taken that mentality going through business, and it's helped me out a lot in everything that I've done. Investing, selling real estate, just having friends and networking with whoever. And I've always taken that with me, and it's it's helped me out a lot.
Gotcha.
Out of the majority of deals that you've done in business that you've done, both as a realtor, investor here in town, out of state, how much do you think can be trickled back or attributed to networking as opposed to another avenue like mail or
do you keep
calling?
that KPI?
I do not keep that KPI, but I would say 95% of my business is easily my network and my net worth, if not more.
Yeah.
I've gotten better at mailing and creating more leads and opportunities, and I've gotten deals from that. And I'm trying always to get better at that. But when I look back at everything and really realize it's all about the networking, you'd be surprised on how much of my deals come from that.
Yeah. When you're networking with somebody, you said something about being intentional. When you're networking, kind of what's your mind space when it's like, hey, I'm networking because this is for business versus I'm just having a conversation with a friend?
It could turn into both. You'd be surprised, because I have a lot of friends that have a lot of money that I grew up with, that, families that are pretty big here in town, and always keeping that line of communication open and telling them what I'm doing, on top of just being a good friend and hanging out, but when you tell people what you're doing and they also like you because they've known you for a long time, it's kind of a recipe for success. Everybody wants to help each other out and get better and honestly make more money. How can I help you make more money? You help me make more money. We create a win-win situation for each other.
Right.
How can you go wrong with that?
Right.
And when you're being genuine with all these people, asking them how they are, how their work is, how their families are, they're going to reciprocate that with you too. So although it may start being personal, if you're asking them about work and how they're doing, they're going to ask you the same thing, and it goes right into it.
It goes hand in hand.
Yeah.
It really does. It just keeps it nice and smooth.
Yeah.
The conversations always start out like you said, how's the family doing, how's friends, and then you bring in how's work going, and they ask you the same thing, and then it just kind of naturally flows, and they go, really, that sounds kind of interesting. You do investments? Really? I'd like to know more about that. And you kind of just start getting into conversations. You just be surprised where things lead,
Yeah, because I know, especially when I started on the Clayson group, when you and Jason were always instilling on us, like, hey, are you guys going to this meetup? Are you guys going to go to this meetup, whoever's hosting this? And it was always emphasized that the networking part is the biggest thing. Go and meet these other investors, see what other people are doing, and build your network. And so I remember that always sticks out in my mind, and I'm always taking that when I hear of a networking event and stuff like that, especially how important it is to just go out and meet people.
Yeah. It is because and also being intentional. I mean, by like when you're going to those networking events, who are you wanting to talk to? Are you talking to private lenders? Are you talking to other investors on how they do something certain that you're trying to do right now? So if you know those things up front, then you go target that person and try to have a conversation and see where the conversation leads.
Yeah. Now, when you're networking with people, I mean, like, you're in a business filled with networking, but say like somebody else who's not, maybe they have like a 9-to-5 or something like that. We've already talked a little bit about like meetups and things like that. What would be maybe some suggestions that you could make for them to meet more people in a way that's like intentional and actually gets them those relationships that we're talking about?
I'm going to be honest with you. Social media, man. Social media is very powerful. I can't begin to tell you that that's already the future. Everyone says that's going to be the future. Well, it's already here. If you're not on social media, networking on there, so if you want to be an investor, whatever city or state that you're in, they have several investment groups right on Facebook. You just join it, start asking questions, start talking to people. I feel like that's the best way to do it. That's for especially being an out-of-state person.
Yeah.
Not local, but out-of-state. You're trying to do something in another area. That's the fastest and easiest way to meet somebody and get to know people, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because Scott just yesterday and me with my flip earlier this year, when you and Jason sat us down, I think the middle of last year, and really told us to push that social media avenue, both of us have had multiple deals, multiple referrals, literally just come exactly from social media. Someone swiping up on a story or sending a DM, and it's crazy how powerful that can be.
Yeah, I think that's important. But now, the other thing I wanted to bring up too, because I was just thinking about it when we flew out to Indiana. Bennie was the only one that had set up like multiple different people to meet with. And like they came to like lunch with us. There was the wholesaler. There was a few people. So when you're reaching out, like how are you, like say you're like DMing somebody, what are you saying that actually gets them to come hang out? Because I'll send a lot of messages and sometimes I won't get any response at all.
I do too. I'm not going to lie. I mean, sometimes you reach out and people are friendly and aren't friendly, but that's part of reaching out, right? You're never going to connect with everybody. That's impossible. So knowing that going forward, you just got to be intentional. The people that do respond and that you get a connection with are the ones you want to go meet, because those are the people that are probably interested in helping you out. The ones that aren't connecting with you are probably either too busy or whatever. And so that's a waste of your time, right?
Gotcha.
So it's hit and miss, but I mean, being intentional is, hey, I'm flying out, man. I'd love to meet you. Do you have time to sit down? I'll buy you lunch. Offering to buy lunch and hang
Free
out.
Food.
Well, I mean,
bringing value to them.
Bringing value to them. What are you doing? I'd love to get some deals from you. Maybe we can help each other out and work. This is what I'm looking for. Do you get deals like that? Of course I do. Here, blah blah blah. Yeah, I'd love to meet with you.
Yeah.
Let's go sit down and have lunch.
Yeah.
So when I went there, I wanted to meet as many people as possible. So I tried to reach out as many people as possible, and whoever responded and I kind of met with, and it all worked out. It all works itself out, I feel like, at the end of the day, if you're intentional.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the value add piece is huge, and Scott and I have started to see it as we've been posting more and more people reaching out to us, just like you and Jason were talking about, is when you are networking and reaching out to these people, that you've got to provide some sort of value to them. How can I help you in your business? What are you, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that
Right.
you get that avenue and that communication going instead of just going in there cold turkey and not getting, any responses or just having bad conversations. You know what I mean?
Yeah, never ask for something up front. Always offer something up front, and then if they're good people and they don't want to network with you,
Yeah.
they'll reciprocate it back.
Right.
Remember,
Right.
you get what you give.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you got to give first and not expect anything in return, and then trust me, it'll all come back tenfold.
Yeah. How are you finding your deals out in South Bend right now? Is it mostly from lead generation, or is it from kind of connections you've made?
I'm gonna be honest with you, it's a lead generation. Out there, I send postcards, and I've been targeting people. I have a cold caller calling, and that's been very, very successful. I've been talking to a lot more people out there than I talk to here. I find out here, people aren't as easygoing. They're more rude, harder to talk to on the phone. Over there, I don't know what it is about Indiana. They're just it's a slower going state. I feel like people are a lot nicer, easier to talk to, more welcoming. So the conversations are a lot easier, and I feel like I get a lot further with sellers over there than I do here.
Really?
It's pretty interesting.
Yeah. That's something we've talked about a little bit.
We've experienced it, but not nearly as much as you
Yeah.
have.
Yeah. And so we know that those 3 duplexes, those 6 doors originally came from networking, joining the Facebook group and just shooting messages in there. What would you say is your coolest networking story, your coolest networking deal, something that came out of networking for you in the business that you think was important to you or your journey in real estate? What's been like a cool story like that?
That duplex story is pretty cool. I would say, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. My past relationships from high school and nourishing those relationships. I have some private lenders that know me for a long time, past coaches, past friends that have lent me money to help me do investment deals. I think that's been a pretty cool story and helped me out a lot in my investment part of it. And then just, I guess, being intentional, and when you're intentional with stuff, things come back to you. And yeah, I don't know. I think that duplex story is cool. And again, just just keep my relationships from high school and going and that kind of stuff. So
I mean, not to be egotistical, but it speaks wonders that I got into the business because I was a barista and you were nice to me. I mean, but we laugh, but like a lot of people aren't nice to somebody who's just handing you your drink through the window. And a big reason why I even felt comfortable asking you if I could come work with you was because you were nice to me when you had no reason to be. I
attribute that to but growing up, my family always taught me to treat everybody the same. Nobody's better than anybody else. Doesn't matter if you're the bum on the corner or the richest guy in town or anything in between. You treat everybody the exact same. And I was always taught to respect everybody. So I think that's helped me a lot along with my natural personality, I think, of talking to people.
Yeah.
Very natural at it, I think kind of goes hand in hand. It's helped me get where I am today.
Yeah, I can attest both you and how I got started by meeting your mom. Your mom's like the exact same way. She is one of the most genuine and cool people that I've ever met, and that came through networking. And so it's just really cool to see you, not only you, but others in your family, and being raised like that has led to your success and your network and how you're going to raise your kids. And, moving forward like that, treating other people the way you want to be treated, whether you're networking or regardless of what you're doing.
Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate that, man.
Yeah. So kind of going back, you now have some stuff out of state. Do you have anything in town anymore?
I have 2 rentals in town currently, and I am wholesaling currently here in town. I'm trying not to, and I have a couple flips going on. I'm not trying to buy too many more rentals here. I'm really concentrating in Indiana. I've actually going to try to graduate up to do multifamily. So my background's in multifamily. You guys know this.
Yeah.
My family owns about 1,200 units here in town. I worked for them for about 13, 14 years before I switched over to myself and went out on my own. And so I want to get into that. And my goal is to get, passive income coming in and not have to worry about selling real estate the rest of my life.
Yeah. So what's next for Bennie Clay, the Clay family? I mean, what are you guys hoping to do over the next, say, 5 to 10 years?
I want to acquire at least 500 units in the next 5 years and maybe get to 2,000 to 3,000 by the next 10.
Jeez.
So that's my goal, and I want to graduate up to that. I've kind of started networking with other people and listening to podcasts with bigger people that own 4,000 or 5,000 units, then learn how to syndicate and put deals together. I think that's the next step for me. I think me getting my beak wet with flipping and buying, ones with single family stuff, just how the whole investment process works.
Mm-hmm.
I've built, before, so I've got a big, construction background, understanding that.
With a breadth of knowledge.
Yeah,
sure.
and property management. I'm very good at that because I did that for so long and overseeing so many units. I understand how that all works. So I think the next step for me is getting up to that level. That'd be the next step for me.
Gotcha. You said you're listening to podcasts. You're talking with people of that level. Have you looked into any of the masterminds or anything like that? I mean, that's the next step of networking.
Yeah, I'm kind of looking into a couple right now. So I'm looking into that avenues. They cost different. Every different networking event costs different amounts of money. So I'm just kind of looking what kind of fits me, and looking into that. I think that's the next step for me too. I want to surround myself with those types of people.
Do it.
Sweet. So for somebody who is maybe like a Scott or a Cade before we got started in the business, somebody who is interested in real estate, has no idea where to start. We talked about a little bit the mindset you need to have when you're networking, when not expecting anything in return. And I think a lot of newbie people have a hard time getting past that.
People.
Yeah, and even experienced people feeling like they're owed something if they reach out, and stuff like that. What would be your advice for somebody new, experienced, struggling with getting past that roadblock, and just kind of networking advice for somebody who's looking to grow their business?
I would say go in with an open mind, right? Be intentional. Surround yourself with the people that you think you have a connection with and that could help you, and don't expect anything in return. If you go with that mindset, somebody will help you. I guarantee it, because there are nice people out there that truly care about people and that would love to help you.
Mm-hmm.
But if you expect something in return, I swear, even though you don't mean it that way, it rubs off on you and people can read that.
Yeah.
And so you need to come, I would suggest, don't expect anything in return. Come being humble and helpful and wanting to learn. I guarantee you'll do just fine.
And if you're struggling to come up with an idea of the people that would be like that, all the guests on our podcast are all people that we've gone to, and they've been more than happy to reach out. In fact, it's almost like you're doing it right now. Like, you have nothing to gain from coming on the podcast except you get to share what you know with a whole bunch of people that you might or might know.
Yeah, and I love you guys, man.
Oh, we appreciate it, bro. I mean, we're pumped to have you on too.
Oh yeah, no, it's been a long time coming. I'm glad to be here.
Well, awesome. Well, Benny, thank you so much for coming on this episode in season 3 and talking about networking. I mean, you've been an integral part of both Scott and I's lives and our careers so far.
100%.
And so we appreciate you more than you know, and we're really excited and grateful that you were able to come on today. So thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having us on. I've been having me on. I really appreciate it, and it's fun to watch you guys grow. I mean, being a mentor and watching you guys' success makes me happier than any money could ever make me happy. So I just want to let you guys know, congratulations. I'm happy for you guys. I'm always here for you.
Well, we are permanently indebted to you. So thank you.
And real quick before we wrap up, Benny, you talked about the power of social media. Where can people find you? Instagram, Facebook. Where can people find you?
Benny Clay and the Clayson Group. Just look up those 2 names on either platform. You'll find me, and I'll be in touch. If you reach out, I'll definitely respond.
Perfect. All right. Thanks, Benny.
All right, guys. Take care.